Hello, it is I, Aiden, on the left side of the microphone. Today, I'm being joined by my good friend Andrew, who, unlike most of my friends, who I only know online because I'm bad at making friends, he's someone I actually know IRL. What? I have those? What the fuck? You know, this is the greatest anime betrayal of all time, truly. I mean, because, like... The relatability of my channel is the fact that I have no friends. Right? Okay, this joke isn't funny. Introduce yourself, Andrew. Speak! Don't make me look like more of a loser!
Okay, I'll speak. I learned from last video. This time I just said nothing. So there will just be some people who will just leave because they'll think you're crazy.
Well, I mean, if they think I'm crazy, they're right anyway, so...
Good point.
This is my fucking schizo rambling channel anyway, so... Like, I figure, like, because last time I had Andrew on, it was for the main channel, right? We were talking about, like, anime, how I got my friends into anime. This time, it's sort of more like how Andrew got me into Spider-Man, because I was already a Spider-Man fan before watching, like, all the movies, but I never had actually seen all of the Spider-Man movies beforehand, so I think it was like a year or two ago that you showed me all of them, and it was through...
We tried to watch all of them.
I mean, there's one that we couldn't finish, but we'll get to that one later.
Yeah.
And like I can say confidently now, I'm a really big Spider-Man fan. These movies are inconsistent as fuck. I can't really call it a good franchise overall, but I am a very big fan. I can say that much.
Yeah.
And I mean, in general, I realize we have to add an F tier. Some of the movies here are just that bad. But
I almost think we should add like an. No, let's keep an S tier.
Yeah, there are a couple of movies that I feel like would belong in an S tier.
I was almost thinking like an S plus tier, but we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, I'm fine adding an S plus tier if we end up needing one.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll add a E tier, or maybe we'll add a G tier if something's that bad.
Yeah, well, you'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But I think there's no other better place to start than with Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man, it's a good movie. It's,
Yeah.
like, it's a fairly straightforward movie, right? There's not a ton to really, like, get into and talk about it, but it's just a very, very solidly executed origin story. Very, very sincere, very goofy at the same time. It's the style that really defined how like superheroes were portrayed in that era. It's a really fun movie.
Basically, like you said, it's the superhero movie that changed how all of them are made and viewed.
Mm-hmm. Like and of course, I have no idea what your rating would probably look like. I feel like my ratings would probably be like lower than yours.
Oh yeah,
generally.
mine especially for these first couple are probably going to be higher than yours.
Because in my opinion, it's a very good B tier movie. Is where I would personally put it.
Yeah, I'd put it in A tier.
Yeah, and since you're the one who has actually watched all of these, I'll follow your rankings honestly.
Okay, good, nice. We get my opinions.
Unless if we like disagree super heavily, then I'll do a middle ground.
We can start with mine and have it all like that, and then at the very end we can switch it to yours.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's been a while since I've seen it, so like it's hard for me to like really think about like all the things that there are to analyze.
This is the one with the Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe does a good job at Green Goblin. Green Goblin's a very entertaining villain. Yeah. The movie has some fun jokes too, because
and all the memes are iconic.
Yeah, because like Macho Man Randy Savage shows up in this movie, and the fucking like, did your husband make that? that joke? I find that as funny as I do. It's like the movie's very cheesy, right? But despite the fact that it's cheesy, it still is able to take itself seriously when it needs to, and it's because of that the original trilogy has so much charm to it. It really does.
Yeah, all three of them are just so charming.
For sure.
So,
Like, and then of course Spider-Man 2 is hands down the best movie of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm putting that one in S.
yeah, and for me it would be like an A. But I feel like Spider-Man 2 is like, honestly, it kind of feels like the standard that I feel like superhero movies in general should really be held up to. Because it just does that good of a job.
Yeah, when we get to the Tom Holland ones, these are what most people online want those movies to be.
Mm-hmm. Which, like, for me, I'm actually happy that the Tom Holland movies do something different, but...
Yeah, and I'm happy they're doing something different with him interacting with other characters. Mm-hmm. And they do a good job with it. And they're fun. And I do love them. In their own different way.
Oh, for sure. Like, Spider-Man 2 is so good, though. Like, Doc Ock is probably my favorite villain in any Spider-Man movie, honestly.
Yeah, there's just so many marvelous scenes. I know you in this channel doesn't know a whole bunch about Marvel. There's like a whole YouTube kind of series and collection of all these different YouTubers that come together to just review a bunch of marvelous scenes from all different Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And it's the train scene.
The train scene's one of the best scenes in any superhero movie. It really is.
And there's the scene where he gives up being Spider-Man and throws it in the trash. There's just so many iconic things with this trilogy.
There's even iconic memes, too, like Pizza Time.
Oh, yeah, Pizza Time. Yeah.
Again, that's what I love so much about the Sam Raimi movies. How brilliantly they combine, like, the sincere seriousness and just the campy goofiness at the same time. Yeah. I love that mix so much. It's definitely, like, a preference thing, right? Yeah. It's not going to be for everyone. Yeah. But I really appreciate it. Because, like... one thing I don't really like about like the MCU is how sort of tongue-in-cheek and meta is.
Oh yeah,
Sam Raimi,
the Marvel humor. Yeah.
Like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies feel like the exact opposite of that, where they just play it straight and the goofiness just comes randomly. The fact that they play it straight makes it more charming to me.
Yeah. Since I'm kind of the Marvel expert, I feel like you'd kind of like Doctor Strange too, because it's made by Sam Raimi and has a little bit of that humor. It still has the Marvel humor that people make fun of, but I think overall it's an enjoyable B-tier movie.
It's not even like the Marvel. It's not even like the Marvel sense of humor is inherently bad either. Yeah. Like you can execute it very well. Yeah. It's just kind of
overplayed. Yeah,
and that's just what's going to happen when you become as big as the MCU
and do it for 20 years.
That is true. It's been 20 years. Holy shit.
Yeah, Spider-Man came out in 2002. Yeah. So these are all the movies from 2002 to 2024.
And then, so the next one is Spider-Man 3. I have no idea how much our opinions are going to conflict on this one. I think Spider-Man 3 is really bad. Like D-tier.
I'd give it a C. Because I think it's bad, but I did have a lot of fun watching it with you.
Yeah. Like, I feel like it's a mixture of, I feel completely baffled by a lot of the decisions the movie makes. I do find some scenes really funny, I'll say that much. Yeah. Like, this is the least bad of, like, the bad Spider-Man movies, in my opinion.
I think there's, all the stuff with Sandman I think's really good, and all the effects with that.
Yeah, like, the Sandman origin, they can make that a short film, and it would be, it's the best scene of the movie.
Yeah, and him... forgiving him for killing Uncle Ben. And then you have on the other side all the Venom stuff with Eddie Brock. Where he's just like, please God, please kill Peter Parker.
And it's like, it's such a cool idea for the movie too, but since they're juggling 3 villains, it just feels...
Oh yeah, and the new Goblin,
Yeah, like the new Goblin I think had the most potential, but...
Yeah, with the setup and...
The setup is such a cool idea too.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just eternally, like, disappointed with how they handled that.
Yeah. Yeah, there was just so much cool stuff in this movie, but there was just a little bit too much.
Like, it feels like they wanted to... Like, the idea I felt like I got from this movie is, like, they wanted to end it at, like, a third one to make it a trilogy, when... Realistically, this is a franchise that could have gone on longer with more villains.
And everybody, I think, has heard about the whole thing. We talked about this earlier before this started, of the ideas of Spider-Man 4 and eventually the conflict with Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi, and it just didn't happen. Which is unfortunate, but I think for the best.
I will say too, though, is that like, despite all the shade that I throw at this movie, because I do not like this movie at all.
Yeah.
I will say, everything to Bully Maguire is S+ tier. It's the best. It's everything that.
Yeah.
It's the best. Genuinely, the fucking scene with Bully Maguire going just dancing around.
Oh yeah.
It's the best scene of the entire trilogy.
The memes on their own, S+ tier.
For real.
Them in context with the movie, C maybe B.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, like, I mean, and if you're in my position where I just kind of stopped being invested in the characters in general, like, I think that I actually did find it to be, like, S+ in context.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was just so fun. And now we have to move on to the series you did not find fun.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man is a weird movie because, like, I found the first, like, 30 minutes or so to be entertaining. I was having fun with it. Then I just kind of got bored. It just stopped being interesting to me.
Yeah.
I'd say it's, like, if I'm being generous, C tier.
Yeah, I'd give it C tier too.
Yeah. I personally would actually prefer it over Spider-Man 3 because at least it doesn't frustrate me as much as Spider-Man 3 does.
Let's move it in front. Yeah. I think I didn't have the same problem you had with the whatever second half or other 2/3 of the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just not as good as the other ones, and it's just disappointing. Really. I didn't really like the more edgy way they took him and the more skater kid angle.
Yeah, just the thing with the Amazing Spider-Man movies is just, like, everything just feels kind of off.
Yeah, like, when people want to see a comic book movie adaptation, they want to see the more traditional version, not a more, like, a little bit of modern stuff thrown in there, but they just want to see the normal version, not a modernized / cool version, which was, like, the TASM movies, with them making him a skater and making him edgier and more violent.
Yeah, like, we're not in the 90s anymore.
Yeah. It was nice seeing him. I'm gonna just keep talking so you just can't talk anymore. But I don't know. My opinion fluctuates on this with the whole him being like basically a villain, just hunting down his Uncle Ben's killer, and that's the only reason he is being Spider-Man, just so he won't get arrested for just torturing and beating up all these criminals.
Yeah.
And he has to learn with great power comes great responsibility. And like that scene with the kid, whatever, on the bridge, and him taking his mask off to help him and be a hero. Like that's good. It's just I don't know.
Yeah, like it's not a movie that's like completely hopeless, right? It has good aspects in it.
Yeah. It's so close to being a B tier for me. It's just so close to being amazing. It just kind of fumbles.
Yeah. Amazing Spider-Man 2, I don't care what your opinion is, fuck this movie. One of the worst movies I've fucking ever
I'm gonna
seen.
move it up because I've seen what is to come.
Oh, because some of the movies are so bad that it makes this movie look decent.
Like, the stuff with Gwen is really good in both of the movies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what your opinion is on some of the music in this movie, but I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, for me, it was just like, I was so bored out of my mind.
Yeah, like, I didn't like a single one of the villains in this movie. I didn't like New Goblin, I didn't care about Electro, and Rhino was only in the movie for whatever, maybe a minute, if I'm being generous.
Like, they definitely, yeah, it definitely feels like an overexertion then.
Not even that, because there's barely 2 villains in the movie. The third one just being a cameo.
Yeah, because like they just end the movie off of that.
Yeah.
Oh man, it must have been absolutely hilarious to the people who realized that, oh wait, it probably wouldn't be a good financial decision to make a third one.
They were going to. They were going to make a Sinister Six movie and make it a 2-parter, then make Amazing Spider-Man 3. They were going to make a whole franchise, a cinematic universe of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That was why there was like that whole end credits or final scene of them walking through the hall of backpacks. All the potential villains.
Yeah.
Yeah, that never happened, obviously. I've also heard rumors of a potential Spider-Man versus Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Where like Tobey Maguire would come back, which sounds interesting in concept. I think that's all it got. But
Yeah.
if it's true, it could have been neat, but I'm happy we got No Way Home instead.
Yeah. And then this is the part of the video where we'll be shuffling between the MCU trilogy, the Venom stuff, the Sonyverse stuff, and the Spider-Verse stuff.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Because after the MCU Spider-Man, they just started really ramping up like the amount of like different and unique Spider-Man content that we'd end up getting.
Yeah.
So then with Homecoming, in my opinion, Homecoming's a perfectly solid B tier movie.
Yeah. I'd give it like A or B tier. So yeah, like
Yeah.
B. I think it's a little lower than Spider-Man, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's as good as Spider-Man is. Spider-Man, I feel like what makes Spider-Man works is the very straightforward origin story, really well done.
Yeah.
I feel like Homecoming is still a good movie. It's solid enough. For whatever reason, though, it just didn't really hit me the same way that the Sam Raimi trilogy started. It just didn't really capture that same magic.
Yeah, it just doesn't have that same kind of iconic thing about it.
Because the original Spider-Man's not a very forgettable movie. I remember scenes from it still. Homecoming is honestly, I think this kind of applies to the whole trilogy, and I like the trilogy too.
Yeah.
I do think it's considerably more forgettable than the Sam Raimi trilogy is.
Yeah. I do like the final battle with Vulture on the jet with...
Yeah, that's a cool fight.
But that was cool, and just all the stuff with Vulture was just so cool. They took this kind of forgettable, not really beloved in any way villain, and just made him one of the coolest Spider-Man villains.
Yeah. One thing I will say about the Home trilogy, though, that I do appreciate, is that they do different things with the character, which I think is warranted, because if the trilogy was just Sam Raimi's trilogy again, that would be boring.
Yeah. So it is nice they're doing new villains and new stories, and like it is cool. And the next one, he goes to Europe, and then you have Spider-Verse stuff. So like every single one is new and different from what came before. Mm-hmm. With them never repeating villains until the multiverse one.
Yeah.
But
and then I know we have very different opinions on Venom movies.
yes, with the next one, Venom, our opinions changed very drastically.
For me, the first Venom is like a C tier. It's like half funny, half just kind of ass, in my opinion.
Man, I'd put it at like a B tier, like just behind Homecoming.
Yeah.
Like, I find it enjoyable. It isn't really nostalgia, because I didn't grow up with it, but it just reminds me of those Sam Raimi kind of early 2000s kind of X-Men superhero movies that are kind of campy and kind of bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, like, he showed me, like, the X-Men stuff as well, and, like...
it's like...
It kind of does feel like a modernized version of that style.
Yeah, it does. And just Tom Hardy and all that is really good. I cannot remember the name of this person. I'm very sorry to this voice actor. But in this first one, there was some person who helped Tom Hardy layer his voice to make it sound a little different and a little better in some ways. I'm pretty sure they went uncredited, which is a shame, so I really wish I could remember their name.
Yeah.
They did... I don't remember, I don't know where they passed away, or for some reason they're not in the other ones. Which is part of the reason to why Venom's voice is not as good in the sequels.
Yeah.
So if you are a fan out there who's like, oh, I really don't like Venom in the sequels, that's probably why.
Okay. And then Spider-Verse thing. Uncontested, this is the best one so far. It's
this was
the best
one I was thinking of putting in, like, maybe an S+ tier.
This one honestly deserves an S+ tier. Fucking, I'm making it. Spider-Verse is that good.
Yeah.
Like, this is like not only one of the best Spider-Man movies, but also just one of the best movies I've ever seen.
This is basically just the Spider-Verse tier.
Yeah. Like, I think that Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie for sure.
Yeah.
Like, just everything about this movie is fantastic. Not only is it an amazing origin story, but it's also for Miles, but it's also a great origin for other characters as well, where you get to learn.
Yeah.
There's the fact that the idea of a movie with this many Spider-Man characters sounds like a terrible idea, but they make it work.
Yeah. And this movie has more villains than TASM 2, like The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it has Scorpion, Tombstone, Doc Ock, Kingpin, the Goblin, the Prowler.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all of them. I might be forgetting some.
Yeah, because, like, the,
But that's already more than whatever the 3 of TASM, too.
Yeah, it's more than Spider-Man 3 as well. Well, because, like, this movie is very ambitious with the stuff for an origin story. And, like, it never really feels like it's overexerting itself, like, at all, which is a criticism that I have of quite a few of these other movies, but I just don't feel it all with the first Spider-Verse. Like, everything just feels so intentional, like it belongs. Everything feels so well-paced, despite the fact that it is pretty long for an animated movie. Well, I think it's long for a superhero movie in general, but...
I think most superhero movies nowadays are about 2 hours and 30 minutes to 3 hours.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They are getting longer, but...
And they're kind of getting shorter. Like, now I think it's about 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a reasonable length for a movie.
Really, the Avengers movies are the only ones that are 3 hours now.
Mm-hmm. Because unless you're, like, a really accomplished director, I don't think you really have any business making a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, because Spider-Verse in general, it's so good. I really like how different Miles is from, like, a Peter Parker protagonist. Where, like, because Peter Parker is kind of like the nerd who doesn't fit in, right? While Miles, for the most part, fits in fine, but also feels like he's in sort of like the wrong environment.
Yeah.
Which I think makes for a more which makes for interesting contrast compared to other Spider-Man stories.
Yeah.
Which I definitely appreciate.
And it just introduced everybody to Miles Morales and just gave him the sticking power to be like a household name.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, if you had told me that you liked Miles Morales more than Peter Parker, I would kind of be inclined to agree.
Yeah.
I don't quite have a preference between Miles or Peter. I think they're both fantastic protagonists.
Yeah. I think they're both good, but I do have a preference.
Yeah.
It's Peter.
Oh, for sure. Like, I think that in terms of, like, the characters themselves, Peter represents the idea of Spider-Man better than Miles does. But in terms of just being in, like, the better movies, I think Miles is the protagonist in, like, the better movies overall.
Yeah, he is in the best movie, but I think if we're going on quantity, it's Peter.
Oh, for sure.
Because he is also in this movie. With Peter B. Parker.
And Peter B. Parker is one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, and there's also a Peter Rip Parker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, the dead one.
Yeah, that's his name. So... I feel like we could just make the rest of the video talking about this movie.
Like, it's just that good. Because, like, Peter B. Parker is such a cool idea, too. Because Spider-Man is, like, the sort of, like... the teenage superhero, right?
Yeah.
Seeing the idea of, like, a teenage superhero have a similar fallout to, like, a child actor feels so... is not only hilarious, right? It makes for some great jokes, but it also feels very real. Like, this would totally happen to a Spider-Man.
Yeah, and just seeing all the jokes and references to things, like the Spider-Man popsicle, the Spider-Man 3, dance, and...
Yeah, like, this is my favorite Spider-Man movie. It's not even close for me.
Yeah.
This is such a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I first went out of the theaters and finished watching, I'm like, yeah, this is my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, and, I don't think it needs to be stated, but, it just completely changed animation and everything.
Yeah, because, like, animated movies in general are allowed to be a lot more creative now, because animation had kind of been in, like, the realm of trying to emulate realism with like Pixar and whatnot, and I love the way Pixar movies look. Don't get me wrong;
they look beautiful.
But at the same time, I feel like it doesn't really represent what makes animation as a medium great, which is the fact that you can stylize it however you want. Spider-Verse was the first stylized animated movie that come out from, like, the West, at least, right?
Yeah.
Because, of course, like, other countries... I mean, to be blunt, other countries care about animation more than America does.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because, like, I mean, of course, I come from, like, an anime background for the most part.
Yeah.
And anime experiments with different art styles pretty often. But with Spider-Verse, it was sort of the first time that we saw that with the West. And it was really cool to see.
Yeah, and we get to see it even more in the sequel, where you have different characters from different art styles and in different things. It's like you have characters from different art styles and their settings are different and they don't match. And it's just so unique and so different that you don't really see in any other movie, really, in the West.
Yeah. Because a lot of people are saying that, like, the Spider-Verse style has put itself into other animated movies, which I actually disagree with, because the idea isn't that that because Spider-Verse's style belongs to Spider-Verse and no one else. But the fact that stylized movies are now a thing too is so cool. I actually haven't seen too many of, like, the new stylized movies, but I have seen the ones from DreamWorks.
Yeah, I've seen the DreamWorks ones.
The Bad Guys and Last Wish are the two ones that really stand out to me for changing up with art styles. The Bad Guys is a pretty good movie. I feel like it's just a good movie, though.
Yeah.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, though, is unironically one of the best DreamWorks movies ever made.
Yeah,
like, that shit is amazing.
I've only seen The Last Wish out of those two you said, and I don't really care about the Shrek franchise.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know there was a other Puss in Boots movie, but I was just like, yeah, this is really good. This is fun.
Like, because I'm a huge Shrek fan, right? I take Shrek very seriously as a...
I bet you're super excited for Shrek 5.
Shrek 5? I'm kind of coping on that one. Like, it could have looked worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my only disappointment with the teaser is that they showed Felicia but didn't show off Fergus or Farkle. Like, if you want to show Felicia, show fucking Fergus and Farkle. Now, I've been wanting to see how Fergus and Farkle look as teenagers for so long now. This is all I've been wanting to watch Shrek 5 for. And it's like, people for the longest time, right? They've been calling me fucking crazy every single time that I tell them that I want to see how Fergus, Farkle, and Felicia look later on. I will say, though, Felicia's design is... They leaned into, like, the teenager aspect a little too much, in my opinion.
I guess so.
I'm terrified that they're gonna make her a fucking TikToker.
But yeah, speaking of, teenagers and all that kind of drama, we have Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
And it does fit with Zendaya. And she becomes a whole lot more important in this one. So how did you feel about that whole, Peter Parker, Michelle Jones?
Why didn't they... They should have just called her Mary Jane.
They should have. I don't know. It just seems pointless to change the name. Like,
exactly.
Nobody calls her Michelle Jones. They just call her MJ, so they can just ignore it and just cope.
Because I forget that she's called Michelle Jones.
I think in No Way Home, there's like a little blink and you miss it thing where they go like, where they call her Watson or something.
Yeah. Like, I feel like... I feel like my theory for the name change is that if they called her Mary Jane, you would have inevitably seen the conservative grifters talking about how they they race swapped Mary Jane.
100%. That was definitely a little bit of the thinking of why they slightly changed it. But I don't know.
Which, like, even then, though, it takes place in a different universe. It's not the same Mary Jane.
But part of the problem, and this is what starts this whole movie is about Peter Parker going on a vacation and just wanting to ask MJ out, go on a nice date, and just not worry about being Spider-Man for a little bit and just take a break.
Yeah.
And then you have the hero, in quotations, Mysterio, appear, and he's fighting these elemental monsters, and Spider-Man eventually gets wrapped in to help out, and what a shock. Mysterio is not a good guy.
Yeah.
And, then you have all that. And it's a good story and fun and whatever. But the problem is where it starts to reference multiverse stuff. There's zero multiverse in the movie. He's just doing that because all this crazy stuff with stuff in the actual MCU has happened where Thanos has committed mass genocide.
Yeah.
With Infinity Stones and all that. And there's the stuff with whatever Iron Boy Jr. and all that, which I don't like how important Tony Stark is in this trilogy. But, he's dead. Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah.
But it's a very important plot point in this movie, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Like, even as someone who hasn't seen Infinity War, because I'm actually not very well versed in the MCU, surprisingly.
It just was such a big event. I feel like everybody knows.
Yeah, like I knew about it.
Yeah, and all the movies that came out after reference it, so there's no real way to avoid it.
Yeah.
So.
Like, despite the fact that has some of those issues when it comes to like having to follow up like Infinity War somewhat. I do think that the movie is, or was it Endgame? I don't fucking remember.
It was Infinity War and Endgame. Okay. So both of those movies came out in between the sequel.
Alright. But I'm actually under the opinion that despite that, that Far From Home is my favorite of the Home trilogy. Like, I'd give it an A tier.
I think the way I view them is the Home trilogy is a good superhero trilogy. But it's not a great Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah, I feel like that could... I feel like that generally tracks.
Like, there are bits where he is Spider-Man, where he's, like, helping the old lady cross the street, and he's helping the city.
Yeah.
And you have all that stuff. And for a little bit I thought about this, because this show just came out, and I just thought about this. There's a show called Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And for a time, everybody was going, oh, it's not going to be very good. And it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I'll show it to you anytime soon. But it does get Spider-Man. Its origin is very complicated, and I don't want to spoil it because it's very brand new.
Yeah.
But it is basically a what-if kind of off-branch of the MCU and the multiverse, with the original idea being it is the origin story for the MCU Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But instead of Tony Stark showing up, it's Norman Osborn. And he's the mentor.
Yeah.
And just one thing that I thought was really interesting, like, everybody knows it, with great power comes great responsibility. Those words are not really ever said in the show.
Yeah.
But what is said is with great power comes great respect. Which is said by the Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
Who isn't really a villain in the show. But it's Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
And he's kind of shady. So it's... And obviously Peter learns that is wrong.
Yeah.
That I should not use my power on others to gain respect. That's what a villain would do. But yeah. Yeah. Kind of back to the actual movie.
Yeah, because, like, in my opinion, what I like so much about the movie is because I remember when we were talking earlier today, I was talking about how, like, the worst part of Invincible Season 1 is, like, all the stuff with, like, sort of like the slice of life stuff with his high school life.
And that's, like, most of this movie.
Yeah. And, like, in my opinion, I feel like Far From Home is, like, if Invincible Season 1 did a good job of that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I find the characters to be more likable. The idea of, like, not to bash Invincible, by the way, because I love that show. But
I think I'd put it about there.
Okay. For me, I'd actually put it at the top of A tier personally. But
oh, you'd put it here?
Yeah.
But do you put it here or here?
Probably about there.
Okay.
And we're going off your opinions though for the list.
Because
you're more knowledgeable on Spider-Man than me, right?
Yeah.
It would be like if we did like a tier list of the anime we watched, and you'd be the one ranking that.
That would be funny to do.
That would be really funny.
I would be willing to come back for that. That'd be funny. Or just a video where it's like just me for like April Fools, and you're just not there. That'd be funny.
Yeah, because I really yeah, because I don't know, I tend to enjoy, like, the more, like, slice-of-life-y aspects of superheroes, and the more, like, internal struggle of, like, having to face those responsibilities that you have to attend to, because, like, if you have all this power, then you have to use it for good.
Yeah, and I think all of the Marvel characters do a good job of just bringing in that relatability, and just, these are humans with superpowers. Well, DC is more, these are like legends, God among men.
Yeah.
And yes, you do have Superman and Batman and all these characters, and they do have this stuff, and it's very similar. It's just, they're viewed from different angles.
Yeah.
Like, Marvel characters are on the more common end, at least the more popular ones, are not considered gods in their universe. DC's are.
Yeah.
Like, Batman is basically a god. Yes, he is peak human condition, but he is able to stand toe-to-toe against Superman and Wonder Woman, who are gods.
I'm like, wait, doesn't have any powers and he's that strong.
Well, yeah.
I remember, I remember I showed you that video back when we were in high school of, like, if Batman could solve the Kira case.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so interesting watching that, because holy shit, I had no idea that Batman was that ludicrously intelligent.
Yeah, he's the world's greatest detective. He originated in Detective Comics, DC.
Yeah.
So, he's relatively smart sometimes. I feel like there are some. We'll talk about this a little bit, because I think it's fun. Maybe we'll go more into it if we do a Batman one.
Yeah.
But I think that there are some Batmen, I think mainly the Dark Knight, who would not be able to solve or catch Kira. I feel like Alfred, or, all of his friends could catch Kira. But I think Bruce Wayne by himself could not do it. He'd need to go to Lucius Fox or Alfred.
Yeah, which, like, to be fair, if he was trying to solve the case, he probably would be able to get those reinforcements. I doubt he'd be doing it entirely alone.
Yeah, like, that's probably what Batman would do. He would go ask for help. But, like, it's also, it's not can Batman and his friends solve the case, it's can Batman.
Yeah, that is fair.
So it's like, that's just my opinion. So either way, the result will still be he catches and solves the mystery. It's just, there will still be that little thing of he needed to ask for help.
Yeah.
Which is not a big difference.
And next up is Venom, baby.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. I liked the second one less than the first one.
Yeah, that was the same for me. We didn't talk about the Venom one too much, but what did you think of the Venom rap?
There's only a couple of times in my life where I felt seriously, genuinely suicidal. That was one of them.
Oh. Okay, well, I think the villain for this movie is way better than Riot. The villain from the first one.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to put it, like, right at the end of B or at the start of C. I think I'll do start of C.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. One thing with the Venom movies, this doesn't have too much to be on how I'm rating them, but I just think it's kind of funny on just how predictable the Spunk movies are. The Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters. I've been able to predict every single end credit scene for these movies. Venom, I was like, oh, Carnage is gonna show up. He's like the big Venom villain. End credit scene, Carnage. Venom movie, I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen in that? Oh, probably J. Jonah Jameson will show up and he'll reference Spider-Man. What happens in Let There Be Carnage? Gets sent to another universe, sees J. Jonah Jameson, and sees Spider-Man, and gets horny or something and licks the TV. And then, Last Dance. I was like, what's gonna happen in that one? They're probably going to do some, whatever, fake out death or something, symbiote, to set up potential other movies, and then do another one that's kind of funny. And, yep, what do you know?
Yeah.
But now, oh yeah, this one also does have, setup for the next movie. With, Venom getting sent into another universe. And it's like, oh, why does that happen?
Yeah.
Now we're at No Way Home.
Yeah, No Way Home. There's another one I give a B tier to.
B tier? I give this one a A.
Yeah, for me it's like like high B though.
Yeah.
So I'm perfectly fine with an A. It's a good movie because like a lot of we were talking about this earlier today as well. Like how much the sort of discourse around the movie changed.
Yeah, just all the hype with it's like, oh, will Toby and Andrew be in the movie? And just all the things of like Andrew Garfield just going like, I'm not the werewolf, I'm not in the movie, I'm not in the film, it's CGI, it's fake. And then you just have the scene with the portals of Ned just going, bring me Peter Parker or find Spider-Man, which is super silly, and I don't think he should have been able to do magic. But whatever, it involved one of the best scenes in the movie, so whatever.
Yeah.
It was kind of dumb, don't really like it, but it allowed them to be in the film, so I'm fine with it.
When the portal scene came, I mean, just like...
It was just so hype.
Yeah, I mean, when it came, I came. Like, my entire life just completely changed. You know, I was screaming out loud vigorously for 10 minutes straight. We had to pause the movie in the middle of it. I was just like...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the entire theater just kind of came a little bit.
Exactly.
When I saw it in theaters.
Like, I mean, I say the idea of, like, come without masturbating a lot, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people in my personal life ask me, Aiden, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not something that actually happens. But on that day, when that movie came out, I think I got... I mean, that was my proof, right?
Yeah.
After such a hype reveal, how could you not come without masturbating?
Yeah. I mean...
Just with no control, right? Just instant hard splat all over the fucking place.
Oh yeah, that does remind me of, you know, speaking of coming.
Yeah.
What did you think of the whole stuff with, you know, Aunt May and her getting younger in every reboot? Because, like, by this one, she almost seems like she could be his mom.
Yeah, Aunt May definitely feels like this sort of, like, mom character. And, I don't... Because I think Aunt May is perfectly inoffensive in the first two, like, trilogies. Well, Amazing Wishes, it was a trilogy.
I think the Aunt May in Amazing is good, and I think the Uncle Ben in that movie is good too.
Yeah.
I think it was good that they tried to have Uncle Ben follow through on what he was preaching. With great power comes great responsibility, and him standing up to the gunman. It was stupid and dumb and got him killed, but the idea was there. They just did it in the dumbest way of him chasing after and wrestling the gunman.
Yeah.
Like, the way they did that wasn't very good. But it was a good idea.
Like, with Aunt May in the Home trilogy, though, I'm not really that big of a fan, honestly.
I'm still kind of mixed on whether, like, the whole thing of them revealing Peter's identity as, like, the final joke of Homecoming.
Yeah.
And then it just never matters. We never see any conflict because of it. By the next time we see Aunt May, she's just perfectly fine with it and actually telling him to bring the suit to Europe. Yeah. And is, like, fine with it and actually encouraging him to do it.
So, like, what's the tension that comes with the secret identity, then? It just, it feels underwhelming.
Yeah, and that's one thing the MCU has struggled with, which you haven't seen too much, is I think you've heard and you've felt the impact of Iron Man and the iconic scene of the movie ending with I am Iron Man. And just revealing and getting rid of the whole secret identity thing. At the time, very unique and innovative. Now, there is no superhero in the MCU with a secret identity. Yeah. That is starting to change with the multiverse saga. With stuff like Daredevil and Spider-Man now. And
Because I like the idea of secret identities in superheroes. Because, like, because I really like the contrast between someone trying to live a normal life while also having the responsibility of saving the entire world put on them. Yeah. It's a very good idea. Like, you can do it without a secret identity either.
Yeah, like characters like the Hulk and She-Hulk and I guess Iron Man. Like, basically since 2008, he hasn't had a secret identity, and it works fine.
Yeah, because, like, an example, this actually isn't, like, a Marvel example, but My Hero Academia is a superhero, it's like a superhero anime, right? Oh, yeah. And and in the villain hunt arc of season 6, it kind of goes around, like, the sort of, like, great power, great responsibility thing, where its main character has to be held responsible for saving so many people in a time of crisis. Yeah. And it's like one of my favorite arcs of that show. Fortunately, the ending of the arc is kind of whatever. But I do think that MHA has a lot of really interesting differences compared to, like, Western superhero media, and the creator of that show is a huge fan of stuff like Spider-Man as well.
Yeah, it's just really cool, and Spider-Man has shown up in some other things since he's so big. There's Japanese Spider-Man, which is got some good memes of whatever, him with a gun just shooting people. There's Spider-Net. I saw one thing where he just watches some woman commit suicide. There's him with a wrench just banging on the floor.
Yeah.
There's just so many funny things. I kind of want to show that. That could be like our next Suicide Squad isekai thing we could watch. But now we're on to something that I have watched just by myself. So before this video came out, I watched the final couple of Spunk movies that I hadn't watched for some reason. Luckily, Morbius I was able to watch for free because it's on Disney+. So, some history. We tried to watch it back in high school, and we were just like, man, this sucks. This is kind of boring.
We got 30 minutes in and went, yeah, I'm gonna need alcohol to actually finish this.
When we were actually watching it, I remembered where we left off, and it was when he was, like, drinking the blood, and we were making some jokes that it looked like piss, because it was, like, the fake kind of bluish blood, and that Jared Leto was drinking piss.
Yeah.
So, that was closer to like 25, maybe 20 minutes in. We didn't even make it 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Jared Leto has a piss fetish, I mean, like, perfectly fine with that, honestly. Good luck, man.
Wait, did I tell you about this? This could also be fun for you, audience. You probably know this because Jared Leto is a weird dude.
Fine, everyone knows.
Yeah, I know. Biggest shock of the century. But he also was in the last video. We mentioned him a little bit for all you patrons.
Yeah.
He was in the Suicide Squad, the 2016 one, as the Joker. And now, these are all alleged. These are all rumors.
Yeah.
They were started by Jared Leto. So take that as you will. It's either a joke that has gone too far, or he actually did this. Some of them are confirmed, like him sending a rat to Margot Robbie.
What the fuck?
And then that just became like a pet. He sent some used condoms and anal beads.
What the fuck?
And I think a dead pig.
You know, when people method act, it's usually as villains, and I think that goes to show something about, like, the psychology of people who method act.
But yeah, the way I think the rumors and jokes of that whole stuff started, it was like some person was interviewing him about all the weird stuff he sent. He was like, yeah, I also sent used condoms and anal beads. And then they tried to ask him about it. It's like, oh yeah, they were used. And they're like, what? And it's like, well, it's educational.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So, it's not 100% confirmed.
Oh,
it's just,
man.
He started the rumor. So, it's probably true.
I mean, it's probably true, yeah.
Yeah. The fact that all the other stuff is true, like 100%. But no matter how that story is, true or false, one thing that is true, this movie's bad.
Yeah.
And just boring.
The only reason why it's not in F tier is because there's worse movies somehow.
Yeah. I did find it funny. I showed you the clip of Have Sex, where you have the villain Milo just dancing with his shirt off, just going, have sex, have sex.
It's insane.
That was the best part of the movie. And then there was every single time there was a fight scene between those two, and they would just fight. It looked a little weird, but it was fun just watching Jared Leto just get the shit beat out of him.
That scene would have been fucking glorious with alcohol. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think this movie would be probably like up here alcohol. So in like a few years, once we can drink, maybe S+.
Yeah, because like I don't plan on ever being a drinker, right? But if I ever do drink, I'm drinking to Morbius. That's the first thing I'm using alcohol for.
But yeah. This movie does have iconic things. It brings back the ending of this movie. With the Vulture, he comes back and gets sucked in. It's like, oh, this is probably Spider-Man's fault.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The events of No Way Home brought Vulture. He's with Morbius and Venom now in the Spunk universe.
Yeah.
We're never seeing him again.
Good.
I want to see Vulture again. He was a fun villain. I don't want him to be stuck in the Morbius
No,
hole.
it's funnier if he's stuck in Morbius. That's why I said good.
Yeah. But oh well. I guess one other thing before we move on to a legendary movie.
Yeah.
Final thing I have to say about Morbius. I'll give you guys more knowledge of other superhero movies. But in this movie, the movie starts off showing off, the two characters that are, kind of the main characters. You have Michael Morbius and then Milo.
Yeah.
That's just a nickname that Morbius gives him. Because he, has some made up or weird unknown disease that's killing him. And every once in a while, a new kid comes in that has the same disease as him, and then they die.
Yeah.
And he just can't be bothered to learn the new name, so he just calls them Milo. Which could have been really sad and emotional of, every time I make a new friend, they just die. So, But eventually, whatever Milo, whatever number he was on, survives to be an adult, just like him. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But before we get to adult Milo, we see him get basically a love letter. And he just gets this thing of, this is me, Dr. Michael Morbius. I'll become a doctor and find the cure to insert disease here.
Wonderful.
And obviously he loses it and drops it, and on his crutches he waddles out to go get it, and the bullies show up and beat him up.
Yeah.
And, it's a bunch of bullies beating up a handicapped kid. But you might be wondering, why am I bringing this up? This has nothing to do with the plot. It's pretty forgettable and mid. I even forgot about it. Well, I did remember, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. This is a trope in superhero movies. And it's done better in other movies.
Yeah.
Morbius can't even do that right. Like Shazam. DC does this better. The bullies are better. They just hit the crippled kid with a car.
Yeah.
They run him over with a truck in Shazam. Here they just kind of push him and slap him around a little bit. If I want my bullies to beat up a crippled kid, I want them to go all the way.
Yeah.
Hit them with their car and just hit them with a baseball bat or something. Beat them with the crutches and just bend them with their tinfoil.
Exactly.
It was like that kid was getting beat up by Superman. These guys were getting beat up by Jared Leto when he was a kid or something. So, yeah.
And then Across the Spider-Verse. Phenomenal movie. For sure.
Just a little bit behind because of the cliffhanger ending, and it's a kind of two-parter.
Yeah, that ending definitely felt kind of... It's interesting, too, because, I thought this was, this is something I actually haven't discussed with you yet. Because I thought that, this cliffhanger ending bullshit was, just with Spider-Verse. But my mom recently showed me the Kill Bill duology, and the first film did that as well. And I'm like, oh my god, they just ended it.
They also do that with Back to the Future.
Oh yeah,
just Back to the Future Part 2. But they were filmed back to back, so
yeah. Because granted, since I watched the Kill Bill movies in a world where the Kill Bill duology is finished. And I could watch them
back to back.
Yeah. It's a very satisfying, very complete feeling experience. Yeah. They're both great movies.
Yeah. I definitely feel when Beyond comes out in a few years, it'll probably be like this, with Beyond in the middle or over here.
Because I'm actually under the I feel like I'm under the opinion that Across is more of an A+ tier movie as opposed to an S+ tier movie.
So maybe somewhere in here.
I guess that works. The you can keep it next to Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I'm keeping it next year.
Because granted though, I mainly feel that way because as a standalone movie, I do have some nitpicky things to say about it. It takes a really long time to really start. They start with Gwen instead of Miles.
I think I liked the opening with Gwen. I thought that was good and different.
Yeah, and then they had to reestablish a lot of what Miles is going through after in a world that's kind of in a post
Spider-Verse.
Yeah, post multiverse stage, right?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, when it does the stuff, it's all really good. It's still a good movie. But it doesn't really have that sort of breakneck, exciting pace that the first movie had. Where if I were to describe it, I'd say that Across the Spider-Verse feels like feels like the first core of a really good TV show more than like a movie.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like the first half of a story. But with the other thing you said, with it being like kind of interconnected with the other story, it definitely being way bigger in scale. Yeah. I am more used to, with me watching the MCU, X-Men, DC, DCEU, and now DCU.
Yeah.
That's probably super confusing for most people who don't know what those mean, because I just said a whole bunch of random letters.
When you said the MCU, I thought you were talking about the Madagascar Cinematic Universe.
Moving on. I'm used to movies interconnecting with, Civil War to Homecoming, then Homecoming to Infinity War, and on to the next. So I'm used to that kind of happening, and that kind of rough balance of standalone story and then interconnected story.
Yeah.
Which is a difficult balance, and it's kind of hard to do. And I'm not sure which I prefer, whether it's more interconnected of characters flowing in between different movies, or they should just stick to their own thing.
Because, like, in my opinion, like, my absolute favorite part of Across the Spider-Verse really starts to come in...
Yeah, with the Spider Society.
Yeah, the Spider Society. Miguel O'Hara is a phenomenal villain. In my opinion, a better villain than any of the villains in the first movie.
In some ways, I think he isn't really a villain. I think he's more of an antagonist.
Yeah. Because, he's someone who wants to do good, right? But, but I also feel like he's just Ron.
He is wrong.
But that's what makes it interesting. I'd say the only villain in Into the Spider-Verse that I feel like kind of has competition with Miguel in terms of like writing ability is the Prowler. The Prowler is probably the best villain in general in any of these movies, but Miguel O'Hara comes really close.
And speaking of villains with these movies, there's the Spot, who I am really excited to see where he goes and beyond.
Yeah, because the Spot kind of felt like he was sort of established, but not really done much with.
Yeah, like he was more set up, and then he's more of like the looming threat.
Yeah,
like he's the disaster that is to come.
Like a lot of, again, like I feel like most of my problems really do just come down to the fact that Beyond isn't out yet.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Right.
Because, if I already like Across this much, Beyond has the potential to be the best of the trilogy, honestly.
Yeah. It's definitely... everybody's so excited for it.
Finally got a release date.
Yeah, so we timed this perfectly with all the new release stuff with Spider-Man Brand New Day and Beyond.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah, I'm just super excited with it, with, him being a funny comedic villain in the start, and then he finally is starting to be taken seriously. But something that is not taken seriously is Madam Web.
Which I have not seen. And
for good reason.
I don't want to either. It looks like shit.
For these last couple ones, this is kind of the spunk movies now that are only left. The movies I watched to prepare for this video was Morbius, Madam Web, and Craven.
Yeah, because I'm like, Andrew, you don't need to torture yourself by watching these piles of slop.
I just felt like it would be weird if, these three movies were there alone, all by themselves.
Yeah.
Where did I... Oh, no, I want the... Where was Morbius? Yeah.
Morbin time, baby.
But, yeah. But Madam Web, drum roll. It's F tier. It's
wonderful.
I found the villain funny, Ezekiel Sims. He has... I don't usually care about ADR or CGI or any of that kind of stuff in movies. I think I'm pretty relaxed with that kind of stuff. But oh my gosh, it was just so funny. Just every single line. Like, we don't have a face cam, so I can't really show it. But his lines never matched his mouth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think in a single spot in the movie. It was like they almost had him saying all this stuff for the story, and then they realized, oh, this makes him look like a pedophile of this whatever old man with a beard trying to hunt down these 3 teenage girls and then touch them. to death.
Sounds wonderful.
And I'm saying this very vaguely because in one of the scenes, it's almost like a loop. And when I was thinking about this, I'm like, oh, this is almost like Steins Gate. But I want to kill myself. And Toxic by Britney Spears is playing, which is about a breakup and a toxic relationship, and you have a man breaking into a diner, killing a bunch of teenage girls, and I'm like, Sony had to know what they were doing. Like, you're having this old man hunting down these teenage girls and having all these songs about toxic relationships and creepy men playing.
So I'm assuming that the hero of this movie, right? They went down and went, I see dead people. No. Mustard on the beat.
No. The main character is Cassie Webb, who's friends with my second favorite character.
Yeah.
Ben. Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben has empathy. He's a normal-ish person.
Yep.
And he's not really in the movie. The only reason I like him is he makes fun of Cassie Webb for not really having a personality.
Yeah.
And just being a piece of shit. Like, I told you this, Aiden, a little bit before the recording.
Yeah.
But her job, Cassie Webb, the unempathetic, mean person, is a paramedic. Meaning her job is to help people.
Yeah.
But she doesn't like people. Why does she have this job? Only God knows. But, she saves some person, and then some, little girl goes up to her, and it's like, oh, thank you for saving them. Here's some art. And for you audience who don't know, I actually used to be a instructor and work with kids a whole bunch. So I know a whole bunch of things about acting and talking to kids. And, they could hand you, a small little pebble or a leaf, and it could be nothing or garbage. But you want to look up to that. And it's like, oh, this is special. They're taking time out of your day to show you this. Because they think you're important and you're cool. You're like a superhero to them.
Yeah.
So you want to take that and you want to hold it up and put it in the spotlight. The actual superhero, Madam Web, is immediately trying to throw this away and get rid of it in front of the kid.
Oh my god.
And I don't even think she turns away. She doesn't even turn to the side a little bit. She's just like, oh, yeah, no, you should give this to Ben. He was the person who actually did all the work.
Oh, man.
And it's like, Ben, what should I do with this? And he's like, put it on the fridge. Throw it away. Just say thank you.
Yeah, just normal human shit. I'm so fucking baffled that I had to take off my glasses. That's when I mean absolute business.
And, to continue the whole stalker thing of this movie, Madam Web has the powers of whatever, glimpsing into the future. That's how you got the whole Steins Gate kind of thing in my mind of it looping and her trying again to beat this evil Spider-Man type guy. And it's basically four normal people trying to survive evil Spider-Man.
Yeah.
With him being able to run around and crawl on walls, and when he touches people, they get poisoned and they die.
Yeah.
So yeah, he isn't, raping people. He's just giving them a little choke. Or, I guess he did sleep with one person and killed him.
Yeah, I would have honestly liked to see more rape scenes, but that's just me.
Yeah, but this is definitely the worst movie I have ever seen. I never want to watch this movie again.
That was that bad. The worst movie of all time.
I don't watch a lot of bad movies. There are definitely worse ones, but to compare, I have watched Batman and Robin. This is worse. I've watched Superman: A Quest for Peace, considered to be the movie that killed superheroes. I think this is worse. I've watched X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Even that?
I would rather watch that movie than Madam Web. I did, Ezekiel Sims is funny, and he's the best part of the movie. But he's not really in the movie very much.
That you made something bad when fucking X-Men Origins Wolverine is better than it.
Yeah.
Fucking.
We should do an X-Men one.
The X-Men ranking would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Frankly, I don't remember most of the X-Men movies anymore. But...
That's fine. I remember. Now we have Venom: The Last Dance. So all these last three I have watched. Aiden has not watched.
Yeah.
Venom: The Last Dance I actually would watch with you guys, and I did plan on doing it. We just haven't had time. It's a fun goodbye to the Venom series, The Last Dance, and you know it can't be called Venom: The Last Dance without a dance sequence.
Yeah.
You remember Mrs. Chen? She even shows up in Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And it reveals what universe Venom is from. Giving him his own, whatever, Earth number. I can't be bothered to remember it, it doesn't matter. But, obviously there are some plot problems with whatever. There's a codex, and every time Venom transforms, it appears, and then he can be tracked by the big bad guy, No, and the xenophages that are, like, symbiote killers. And they are pretty intimidating. They're pretty... I mean, they don't talk, they don't do anything, all they do is murder and kill, which can be fun. Sometimes it's just nice to have a villain that just kills and is evil. But, you know, I think the movie wasn't the type of Logan-style final goodbye to the Venom series. It was a silly, goofy, dumb, almost like early 2000s movie. It wasn't the Venom movie we wanted, but it's the Venom movie we have. I still wish we got to see Venom and Spider-Man together.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of butthurt about the whole April Fool's joke of Tom Hardy not being in Avengers Doomsday. I really just want to see Venom and Spider-Man be together.
Yeah.
It is a crime. The last and only time we have seen Venom and Spider-Man together is in Spider-Man 3.
So, is Kraven the Hunter worse than Morbius?
Is it? It's D tier.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have very much for it. It's a spunk movie.
Yeah.
You know, the Venom movies are fun, silly comedy things. Wish Spider-Man was in them, but they're enjoyable. Wish he had the logo, but whatever. Madam Web was insufferable and annoying. And anytime the main villain was not around, I wished it was over. And I had to constantly keep checking. It's like, how much is left? How much is left? How much is left? When is the suffering done?
Yeah.
And then Morbius was just kind of... Luckily, I'm not sure, but luckily, I feel like it went by pretty quick. It did not feel that long. It was probably pretty close in length to Madam Web.
Yeah.
It just didn't... This one just felt like it would just never end. Kraven the Hunter... The first part of the movie is basically all flashbacks.
Sounds wonderful.
I feel like the first 8 minutes were just put onto YouTube before the movie came out. And just spoil basically the introduction of the movie, which is him just going to prison, doing this whole thing. He kills a whatever prisoner. So they're getting brought in, takes his place, then kills whatever the warden or something. It doesn't really matter. It's basically irrelevant to the plot. So, 8 minutes of the movie, basically irrelevant, don't matter. That's fun. And then you spend whatever 30 minutes in a flashback showing how Kraven the Hunter, like, introducing you to his brother, Dimitri, and his father, Nikolai, who is basically Kraven the Hunter. Nikolai is a person with a Russian accent who has children and is a hunter.
Yeah.
And involved with crime and a villain. Sergei, yeah, that is Kraven's real name. His real name is Sergei Kravenov, and he changed his name to Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, I mean, I think anyone would if their name was fucking Sergey.
Yeah.
Because, I was working out with Josh not too long ago, right? And He told me about, because he's into cars, right?
Oh,
He
yes.
told me about the Gaylord Gladiator.
Yes.
I'm like, did someone actually name a fucking car that?
Yeah. But one thing that is very unique about Kraven the Hunter is that out of all of these movies, all of them are like kind of PG or PG-13. Kraven the Hunter is rated R.
Oh my god.
Meaning, it can have blood and violence.
Wow.
It is actually really good. All the action scenes and blood and kind of gore, it's actually pretty good. Probably the best part of the movie.
Okay.
The problem is, none of the stuff with, with the kids in the flashback, basically the first part of the movie, there's still kind of the whole thing of you can't, maim and, brutalize the children.
Yeah.
Because, people don't really want to watch a kid get, tortured and shot and ripped apart. So there's not really too much blood and action in the first part of the movie. Which is fine. But, you get the whole origin. He gets mauled by a lion. Gets some minor cuts and tooth marks. Then he's given a magic potion by some lady and whatever. Then, whatever, I'm gonna skip forward all the stuff with, whatever, him leaving his house. There's just so much stuff that's pointless. For some reason, the potion lady ends up becoming a lawyer. And then basically, the second she joins the plot, she's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna stop being a lawyer. I'm just gonna be potion lady. Be Calypso.
Yeah.
The only reason she's in this movie is Spider-Man is not. And she's Kraven's wife, I'm pretty sure, in the comics. So, we've got to add as many Kraven-offs and Kraven characters, or adjacent Kraven characters as we can to this movie. And we didn't talk about him too much in TASM 2. We didn't talk about Rhino very much, but he is in this movie, and he's technically the main villain. I'm just curious. How much do you remember about Rhino?
That he shows up.
That's very good, and he does show up in that movie. But he also shows up in the first part, and he has a name. It starts with an A.
I was gonna guess Gaylord, but...
That's kind of close, but it's Alexei.
Oh, okay.
And Alexei in this movie is almost funny. But when he's angry, he does a funny little goblin screech. Where he just goes like... or something.
That is a wild noise.
It's almost more like a hiss. Like... yeah, it's almost like that. Like a little hiss. Like a little goblin hiss. Where he's angry. So unfortunately, he doesn't do that very often. Probably would have put the movie up here. if he did more goblin screeches and was funny, put him up here. Unfortunately,
man.
Not funny. And also, for the longest time, I was like, oh, I hate the Rhino design of that big mechanized gun mech Rhino. I prefer the more classic, like, 90s Rhino skin suit.
Yeah.
And there are mechanized rhinos that look good, like the Insomniac Rhino, where it's a little bit more skin tight, but also more mechanical armor.
Yeah.
So it can be good. Like, there is precedent, but this one was like, oh, TASM movies. Worst Rhino design? Hold my beer.
Exactly. The Sonyverse movies are honestly fantastic in one way, and it's just the fact that they can really show how shitty can we make this. To be bold enough to ask a question like that from a film studio, I really respect it. I mean, the amount of effort it must have taken to deliberately make these movies as bad as possible must have been.
And one thing, for all you Kraven the Hunter fans, the movie does not have an end credit scene. The movie does end with a 1-year time skip, showing Sergei Kravenov's brother, Dmitri, as the iconic, the first Spider-Man villain, the Chameleon.
Yeah.
With one of the most weird and janky effects in the movie, where he just changes his face to look like Kraven.
Yeah.
But everything else, like his entire body is just that actor except for the face.
I gotta grab something because I feel like it's decently relevant to the video. Where is it?
I'm actually curious.
Yeah, so you got me like a Spider-Man comic. And
Oh,
just
yes.
Morbius.
I just put like a Morbius.
You printed Morbius on top of the Spider-Man comic.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
the joke was like, oh, I got you Morbius, right?
Yeah. So that was how I was able to watch the Morbius movie. He got that for me. He also got a Morbius metal poster.
Oh yeah,
for
Josh
me.
got that for
Yeah.
you.
So
Because
I own those now.
because like on Christmas, right, we give each other joke presents.
Yeah.
Fucking Josh got me that same year a diary that's
of like your small penis.
Yeah, living with a small penis. Mine isn't small, by the way, for any ladies watching.
Then why do you have that book?
Anyway, so for the people, ladies, if you want to hop on my DMs, you can do so by becoming a patron, baby. The greatest fucking way to get into the. So we have several tiers, like the shadow tier, just financial support, right? You're not really gonna be getting much out of it, right? The fandom tier with all the basic support options, right? Like the Patreon roll call, Discord server, which is how you can DM me if you want to send me your pussy pics. But then the early scripts and scrapped ideas. I need to shut the fuck up. Anyway, and then the confidant tier is all the video-based stuff, like early videos, exclusive videos, unlisted videos, all that cool shit. And then the God tier with all the really extra features, like you get access to Google Drive, top patrons. Unfortunately, for any ladies watching, my dick pics aren't on my Google Drive. I'm sorry, but so
But yeah, to kind of finish this off, how would you kind of sort these movies, Aiden? How would you kind of change them up with you being more of a beginner?
Yeah. I'm gonna save this real quick. And then. Oh, the horse cock on my files didn't get exposed.
But yeah.
Guys, I can't help it. I just like horse cock.
But yeah. So while you move them around, I do have one question for you, Aiden.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Where are the feet pics?
Oh, the feet pics. Oh, the Patreon. Oh, yeah, right. I promised that the Patreon feet pics would return, but they haven't yet. Let's actually go to the shop. Let's add a digital product. Yes, you can get my NFTs off my Patreon. Well, I'll deal with that later. But I will add the feet pics again for $5,000. It's the funny joke. Yeah. So if I were to do my ranking, I'd probably remove the S+ tier, not because Spider-Verse doesn't deserve it, but because there wouldn't be anything in S tier otherwise. Because like my opinions are a little bit more on like the.
You're just adding didn't watch.
Yeah. So basically just the Sonyverse movies, right? So like my personal ranking would probably go. I actually think I'd put. This is what my ranking would look like.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, yeah. It's not too, yeah. I don't think there's any big hot takes there too much.
Yeah, I feel like my takes are like relatively standard.
Yeah, pretty mild.
Like, I feel like the hottest takes I
feel like the hottest take is Spider-Man 2. Wait, no, that's Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
I almost thought you were putting Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 is...
If you put that in C tier.
Yeah, it's my second favorite Spider-Man movie. I have it pretty high.
Yeah. But, I think to finish it off, we did talk about this a bit, but what's your favorite Spider-Man suit?
My favorite Spider-Man suit? I think... honestly, I think Miles Morales' suit is probably my favorite. I just like the black and red color scheme a lot.
Yeah.
But if I were to pick a Peter Parker suit, which is what I assume you were talking about.
Yeah, mostly the live action, but yeah, that Miles. Is it the Across or the Beyond? Not Beyond, I mean Into.
The Into design is more iconic, right? But the Across design is probably better.
I disagree. I think the final, like, Into the Spider-Verse suit with, like, the graffiti logo, I think that one's cooler than the Across.
Yeah, it's fair
Whatever,
enough.
the red elbow kind of armpit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make fun of it too much for whatever the bloody elbows and armpits, but I don't know. It looks good. It's just, I prefer the first one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot when making my tier list. I was actually going to put Spider-Man 3 here.
I don't know. Minor change.
Yeah.
Anyway, your favorite Peter Parker suit was...
My favorite Peter Parker suit, in terms of, like, getting the Spider-Man spirit right, I feel like the Sam Raimi suit is probably my favorite.
Yeah, that's fair.
But when it comes to, like, pure design, I actually like the Home Trilogy suit the most.
Which one? There's, like, a new one every movie.
It's a hard one.
Is it the Homecoming one that's, like, the red and blue, the red and black?
I think I actually would say the Homecoming one. I really like the visual design of it.
Yeah, kind of like this one that I'm wearing.
Yeah.
For context, I am wearing a Spider-Man coat that looks like...
Yeah, you always wear Spider-Man hoodies.
I haven't as much in the past 2 years, but I'm starting to bring it back a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think my favorite... This might be surprising because I'm wearing the Homecoming one. But my favorite is... between two. It's either the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit,
yeah,
so the Andrew Garfield one, or the final swing suit from No Way Home, where it's like the shiny, kind of glossy red and blue. It's entirely CGI. They did not make a practical suit at all, and it's probably never going to return.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. It's what I think of when I think of Spider-Man. Just a simple, no extra big, thick lines or anything like that. It is just a red and blue with some webs.
Yeah.
Simple. But, you know, like, the Sam Raimi one is just iconic.
It really is.
With the raised, like, the webs to suit.
Like, it's definitely my favorite when it comes to capturing Spider-Man.
But, you know, the final thing is, we've done the favorite. Might as well finish it off. What's our least favorite?
Oh, my least favorite suit. I don't know. I don't really think I have a least favorite suit. I think
I'll include the origin suits.
Okay. In that case, it would probably be an origin suit then. Right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like all of the Spider-Man suits are pretty good for the most part. None look.
I disagree.
Or my memory is also not the greatest.
That is fair. I have watched almost all of these movies except for the ones I watched for these videos multiple times.
Yeah.
So I'll start first. The one I think is the worst is the Vigilante suit from, The Amazing Spider-Man, where it's just him wearing whatever, a hoodie and some pants with like a red ski mask and sunglasses.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, easy worst.
Yeah, that is the worst one.
Yeah.
And then technically, if we want to go to a suit that is technically Spider-Man, I guess you could say the Madam Web one, but that's not Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And I think it's fine for an evil-ish Spider-Man, but yeah. It is the worst Spider-Man kind of suit design, and I've heard people argue, oh, it's an origin suit, that's okay for it to look bad.
Yeah.
The Homecoming origin suit looks good. And, Yeah,
I'd say ironically, I think my favorite origin suit might be the Spider-Verse one. Because of how
that one.
Because they intentionally made it very goofy, right?
Yeah, I think that one's really good, yeah.
And, like, it works a lot story-wise, because Miles Morales spends the first part of that movie trying to replicate what Peter Parker was doing, when the reality is that what makes Miles such a good Spider-Man is the fact that he's Miles.
Yeah.
Again, goated movie. So much I can praise about it.
Yeah, it's just so much. But yeah, these are, our opinions on the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
And the other Spider-Man adjacent movies.
Yeah, because I figured I may as well include them. They're close enough. This is a lot of fun to record. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was.
I already plugged the Patreon, so I don't really know where to take this outro wise. So I guess I'll just say goodbye, gamers. And then I'll probably upload again eventually. It's actually a decent chance. Now my next video will be like an anime thing with Plasma, but otherwise, Andrew and I will actually be recording more videos like this from now on, from what I can tell. So
yeah, I'll definitely return.
Yeah, this is a good format. I like doing stuff like this IRL.
You may see me in an end credit scene soon of me returning. So that could be fun. In some future video, there could just be an end credit scene and I just appear.
Yeah, because I think it's fun to sort of expand the reach of this channel to talk about like more superhero stuff, and like you're significantly more knowledgeable on that side of.
And I'm starting to get more into the comics and expand my knowledge there. And if any of you in the audience want to get into the comics, mainly with Spider-Man, or I guess Venom, the two stuff with Venom I'd recommend is Agent Venom, or the Johnny Cates run. If you want to do Spider-Man, read the Ultimate Spider-Man run by Brian Michael Bendis, or read the Ultimate Spider-Man run by Jonathan Hickman. That is ongoing right now.
Alright.
And you can get volume 1 and 2 right now.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave it at that then. I'll see you guys eventually. Maybe a couple of days if we're able to get the winter season video out sooner than later.